Welcome everyone to Selenium Training by Wisdom Trainings. Hello everyone. Today in this video we are going to take PyTest to the next level and we are going to look at how we can group some test cases and how we can parameterize the test cases. Fine. So let's just get started. What I'll be doing is I already have a package made for my test cases. I'm just going to create one more module and I'll name it as test multiple. Okay, now in this particular module, what I am going to do is I'm going to keep a number of test cases. Like I have 3 test cases already written. So I'm going to continue with this only. Likewise, I have the test cases over here, which is the alphabets, right? It has test case A and then test case B. Suppose this way I have a number of test cases. Just wait. Yeah. So I have 4 test cases, test C and test D. Now suppose I want to run the test cases only which are having the alphabets being printed, like over here in the test case A, B, C and D, right? So that only I want to print. I don't want this test demo to be printed. So what I can do is I can group them into 2 different sections. Like if I have to group it, how I can do that? By using the annotation. Again, the PyTest is going to help you over here. PyTest dot mark, whichever group name you want to give, you can give. I want to give it as alphabets. Okay, I need to import PyTest. Done. And the same way, I would like to group the above test case to something else like, let's say random. Okay, now I want to run only my group alphabets. From this particular IDE, I will not be able to run them separately into groups, but what I can do is I can run them from the command prompt. So I'll open up the command prompt and I'll be at the location where my test case is lying. So what I need to do is go to the test case name, go to show explorer and from here get the physical path and over here. To run the test cases in group, I need to give the command PyTest is going to be given. Then I will use marker -s to see the print statements and then I will have -m. This -m is going to specify that I'm going to run a particular group or I'm going to not run a particular group. Suppose I want to run a group that is alphabets, and in which particular module it's lying, that I'll give, that is test multiple dot py. So what this will do is this will collect the test cases which are under the group alphabets. Sorry, I forgot to mention this, that whichever test cases you want to add in the group alphabets, you have to mark the annotation above them. Fine, like this way. Because in the output you will see that only one test case has been passed, rest got skipped. So now if I run this again, I give the same command. This time 4 test cases will run, all of those which are in my alphabets group. This way. 4 test cases passed and this is the output A, B, C and D. Okay. Now this actually gives me a warning because the marker that I'm using that has been updated in the Python documents, but till time that's not that clear that what's the actual way to give the group name. So that's why I'm keeping it the previous one which was earlier. Okay, so just ignore the warning that's coming up. It's not going to affect your program or code. The same way we have been running a group from the command prompt, I can also go on and I can say that except for this group, run all the test cases that are in my module. So what I will do is again the same command, just now where I'm giving the group name, I will prefix not. So by this not, what will happen is, except for the group alphabets, all the test cases will run. I'll press enter. You will see that only one test case has passed and 4 are deselected. And the test case that has passed is test demo, which is demonstrating test cases. Fine. So this is how the test cases are going to be running in groups, and you can run them. The same is going to be applicable, the same syntax is going to applicable on the Eclipse IDE as well. And from there as well, if you want to run the test cases in group, the same thing is going to be followed on the command prompt. Okay. Now moving further, this was that how to run the test cases in group. There is one more thing. To demonstrate that, I am going to create one more module and I'll name it as test underscore assert. Now assert is a keyword which is going to compare the actual result with the expected result. This assert keyword is very helpful when we are uh, running the Selenium scripts and I want to validate some points, like I want to validate some title. So I'll check on the title page that what's the title. I'll give some title from my end and I'll compare it with the home page or the page that I want to. So it will check that whether they both are together, they are matching or not. If it is matching, if this gives me true, the actual result comes out to be equal to expected result, then it's going to return me a true, a boolean value that is true. But if it is not equal, then it's going to return me false plus the assertion error. Okay, so the use of assert keyword is very helpful and is easy as well. I'll show you. I'll create a function, let's say def add. To this add test case, sorry, it should be a test case, test underscore add. To this I'll pass two variables, two parameters, a and b, a comma b, and I'll say result is equals to a plus b. Now what I will be doing is I will be taking two variables. Let's say I am going to take the variables a is equals to 10 and b is equals to 35. So the output is going to be 45 that I got, right? But now to compare it with the result, with the actual result and the expected result, the actual result will come out to be 45 and what the result I am expecting, that is coming in the result variable. Okay, so now it will compare whether after calculating a and b variables, is it equal to the output or not. So if I run this, it gives me assertion error. Just wait. Fixture A not found. Okay, just wait. Over here it's giving me assertion error because the parameters that I'm passing, they are being considered as a different topic, that is fixture. So right now you are not aware about the fixtures, we have not covered that. So I'm not going to pass any parameters to this function. Instead, I will just have it over here as a is equals to 10 and b is equals to 35. Now over here I'm hard coding it. I'll show you the different way as well, that you don't have to do this way. I'll run this and this time my test case has been passed. Also I'll print the result. To see it on the console, I have to add additional arguments that I'll have it over here. Apply, OK, run it. Now my result comes out to be 45 and the test case passed. Now suppose my variables are something different. It's 30 instead of 35, the value of b. Now the result should be 40. The result is going to be 40, but I am expecting the result as something different. So I'll run this, and this time it's going to fail the test case and going to give me assertion error like this way. This is the expected result. I was expecting 40 as my output, but actual result I was comparing with 45. So that's why these two were not equal and it failed my test case, giving me an assertion error. Fine. So this way the assertion keywords work and is very helpful. As I said before that I'll show you the different way. Even over here I'm hard coding the values. Instead of hard coding the values, so now what I will be doing is I'll just will remove the elements from here and I'll make a normal function def add, and to this function I'll pass the parameters a and b, and I'll say return the sum of a plus b. This is what I need to do. Now over here in the result, I'll instead of passing the variables, I'll call the function add. So I'll say add. I need to pass on the parameters. So I have passed the parameters over here. Now I'll just will simply run this, and again my test cases will be failed because I'm expecting output to be something else, but I'm comparing it with the wrong actual result. Now this time it's going to pass my test case and will give me the result. Okay, now this was about the assert keyword. Now just imagine that you have to do the same step, this same step with different datas. Like over here I'm using the data 10 and 50. Suppose you have to do it with datas 60, this, then this. Means some random numbers that you have to add and keep on adding. So how many times you are going to call this test case? How many times you are going to make a new test case? Because at a time you can compare only one data set. So if I compare it, if I run it again, I'll copy it and I'll have it over here. So if I'll run this now, it's going to give me the output. Over here it's going to give me the output that which of the data set is passing, which of the test data is failing. That all is going to inform. You can see over here it's giving me the information. But what actually is wrong over here? There is a repetition of the code. We have been writing these lines again and again. Just what the change is happening, the data set and the actual result, which is actually a waste of time and effort. So to reduce it, what we can do is we can parameterize the test case. Now what I mean by parameterizing the test case, I'll tell you. You have to, I'll make one more function. I'll say def calculate. To this particular function, I will be, this is a test case, sorry, test underscore calculate. Now to this particular test case, I will be parameterizing three parameters. One is first element, first number, the second number, and the output that I am expecting. And over here, I have to call the function result is equals to add a and b. And at last, I will be using the assert keyword to compare the output with my result. This is what I will be doing. I need to now pass the data. How will I be able to pass the data now? That's little different but quite interesting. You have to use the annotation for PyTest again. Import PyTest dot mark dot parameterize. Parameterize. This is what you need to do. Now in this I will be passing two things. First, what I am going to pass to this particular test case. Three things I am passing: A, B and the output. Now these three things should be in the data as well. Like the first data set will be 5, A is 5, B is 6 and output that I am expecting is 11. This is first data set of mine. Okay, I'll show you the result. I am commenting the previous one. I'll run the test case. You can see over here that the test case has been passed. If I have to give another data set to this particular test case only, so I'll make the test case, let's say 96, 11, the output will be 7107. Okay, I also want to print my result. I have to go and add edit -s is over here. Okay, run PyTest. So now this is how two of my test cases are being counted, two different test cases with two different data sets but on a single code. I am not changing any of my code. I am not adding anything else in my code. Just a new set of data is adding, and that too I am adding through the the annotation. And this way, as many as data set you want to add, you can. Even if you give some wrong data set as well, like I give 9 and 2, I give it 10, which is not right, I know. I run this, so it's going to give me an assertion error at that only data set. Over here you can see it failed the test case and is giving you the information that this data set is wrong, 9, 2 and 10. And this was the expected result. This is the actual result and where you are failing. Rest are being passed. Rest test cases are being passed. Okay. So this way you can make such a structure in which if you are having a number of different data sets and you want to run them at one go without even making the changes in your test case, then you can follow the parameterize one. This parameterize annotation is going to be very helpful when we are working with the frameworks. Okay, but now I'm not talking about the frameworks because that's a detailed topic. I'm not going into that now. But this is something that you can do. Benefit is that no changes every time you are adding new data set, no repetition of code or nothing. So this way the parameterization can be done. Okay. This was all for this video, guys. Do practice this and you will understand yourself that how the flow is going. What's the difference between writing the test cases this way and writing the test case this way is different from each other. Okay, and the same code that you will be writing on your PyCharm IDE, that same is going to be running fine on your different IDE, that is Eclipse as well. So you do practice whichever you find good, you can work on them. Okay, thank you.